All right, so we'll go ahead and get started in a seated position. If it's better for you to be laying down for this class or doing something different with your body altogether, that's perfectly fine. We'll go through a lot of different ways to do things. And so if you like to have some music on, I'd recommend putting on something that doesn't necessarily have lyrics. So maybe something that's a little more symphonic or like soft electronic to help you relax while you practice. Okay, so and just remember that it's practice. So if you get into some shapes and they just don't feel that great in your body, it's okay. We're just practicing and trying to figure out how we can better support ourselves in these shapes. So if I offer you something, it doesn't feel good in your body, just see if you can add some more support to sort of replicate that in your own body. We all have different things going on, right? I have a sore lower back most of the time, so you'll hear me teach to that often. So if you have any questions, put it in the chat and I'll check in at the end. And thanks again for joining. So from your comfortable seat, it may not look like mine, just make sure it's comfortable. Sit up tall, start to draw the lower belly in and up. So that's pelvic floor, then that space in between the pelvic floor and the belly button. And then draw your belly button in. This might bring you a little forward in your chest. So work to lift your ribs up and take a moment to roll your shoulders up and back. You can find as much movement as you want here. You can move your shoulders separately. Let your shoulders settle. Come back to that core engagement and lift your chest up just a little bit more. Bring the line of your jaw back. That might require you taking your hand to your chin and pushing your head back a little bit. And then press down from the hips to lift up, out through the waistline, through the top of your head. If that made you draw your knees up, then just add some support underneath your knees. You could take something like blocks and put them at an angle. So then your knees are supported and now your body's not worried about being so tight. All right, so hands relax where they're most comfortable. Take a moment and let your eyes close. If that's difficult for you, that's okay. Just think of the tip of your nose focusing there, or focus on the space in between your eyebrows, sometimes called a third eye. Deep breath in, let your belly expand. And then open up your mouth, loud ha sound, letting something go. Get the old air out. Inhale through your nose. Again, open mouth, exhale, letting something go. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Last open mouth, exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. This time through your nose. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale, 4. Pause. Exhale, 4. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. So try to breathe like that on your own. Continue to count to yourself if that's helpful. On your inhale, sit up a little taller. And with your exhale, try relaxing your shoulders. And you're welcome to keep your eyes closed or blink your eyes open. It is a soft practice, so a softer gaze or eyes closed is perfectly fine. Take a moment here and come back to lifting up the shoulders, rolling them up and back. And then bring those shoulders up and forwards. This could feel unusual, especially if you are not used to it. up and forwards. Okay, take those shoulders up and back, let them settle. Come back to engaging the core, lifting up the chest. Keep your chest lifted. This should feel prominent, almost exaggerated, like you're stretching out the spine. And bring your chin down towards your chest. So chin down towards your chest, just work with gravity. Of course, if you should not be moving your neck around, please stabilize instead. So deep breath in, lifting your heart. With your exhale, lower your right ear towards your right shoulder. If you went in the other direction, no worries, just keep track of your left and right. So a lot of times in this shape, the opposite shoulder is going to want to lift because it's probably a little tight. So think about really dropping the opposite shoulder down. This might mean placing your fingertips on it as a reminder. And if it feels okay in your neck, look around, look down, look up, notice where your limitations might be and respect them. And when you're ready, bring your head back down. Lift up your chest, inhale. And on your exhale, left ear, left shoulder. Notice if your right shoulder went with you. Try to lower it down. I know it can be difficult. Over time though, over time, it's practice. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Keep engaging your core. Stay here for your inhale. And on your exhale, bring your head back down to your center. Use your inhale to lift up your chest. And from here, we're going to move into our side stretches. So I'll go over our hand placements that are going to be options throughout all the shapes that we do. I'll just go over it this one time in depth so I don't have to do that through every shape, okay? So if we are doing something where we are putting pressure downwards on the hands or the wrist, you have options. It may not feel good for you to put any pressure on your hand. The pain that may not be in your hand, the pain could be in your shoulder or your elbow, right? But if it's telling you not to do that, there are some other options. You could pop up to your fingertips. That's a good one. You can create a fist with your hands. Just be really aware of your wrist stability here. If you get a little wobbly, that's not a safe place for you. You can always have your hand down. You can have a little towel underneath your hand if you just needed a little padding. And of course, there's other options, right? So if it's a height issue and you can't really touch the floor, then you got to use some blocks. And we want to work to lift up from the torso as opposed to reaching over with our torsos. So you may have to add some height with your arm out to whatever it's going to touch with the fingertips to accommodate, right? So that we are sitting up tall. So hopefully that made sense to you, and I'll show you. So we'll start by grounding the right hand down. Keep your shoulder in its socket. Keep your torso upright. With your inhale, left arm reaches up and over. And this might look more like the elbows bent. Okay, that's okay. You got to start somewhere. You may need to have your hand at heart center and work to lift up the torso a little bit more, and then the elbow, right? So there's little baby steps we can take if we need to. If we're feeling good here, maybe we can straighten the arm, but keep pulling the shoulder down. The shoulder's not up by the ear, it's down. Deep breath in, lifting up your chest. And with your exhale, reach the left fingertips up and over. So the expansion is on the left side, the expansion from the hips through the torso, through the rib cage. Deep breath in, find some more space. And on your exhale, reach. If it's available, left shoulder draws back a little. You can move your neck as it's available. One more time, breathe in. Exhale and bring your left hand down, and just pause in between here. That's a lot of blood to move around for some of us, right? So if you feel a little dizzy, take some more time. Grounding your left hand down, inhale, right arm reaches up. Mindful that the whole body didn't go with you. If your hips are lifted, your knees are up, get some more support going underneath you. Left hand down, right arm reaches up, stable from the torso, lengthening and feeling the stretch more on the right side. Inhale, find some space. Exhale and reach through the fingertips. One more time, breathe in, find some space. And this time on your exhale, bring your right hand down. So you can always stay longer on each side, right? This is your practice. Just move with your breath. Inhale, left arm up and overhead. Exhale, bring your left hand down. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Exhale and bring it down. So at your own pace, with your own breath, inhales to reach up and over and exhales to ground. You may like to be on each side for a couple breaths, right? This is meant to be a slow class, so if this gets your heart rate up, slow it down or keep the hands closer to your body. We'll take one or two more on each side. When you feel pretty balanced out there, make your way back to your center. So we'll take the hands behind us. I'm up on a bolster right now, so it's perfect for me to just take my hands, flip them down, and place them at the back of the bolster, drawing the elbows in. That might not be your situation, so you may have to put something under your seat, under your knees. You may need to have a block behind you. You may need to have two blocks behind you. If you can't get your elbows to disappear behind you, that's no problem. Just work in that direction. What you want to make sure you're not doing is leaning into your lower back, right? We want to sit upright and support the knees if they start to pull upwards. Okay, so we'll take a deep breath in wherever you are, lifting up your chest. Exhale and draw your elbows in like you're going to squeeze them in towards each other. Lifting up your chest, breathe in. And on your exhale, chin down towards your chest. Hang here for a moment. And walk your hands out in front of you into a fold. I recommend taking a block with you. You may need to take two blocks with you, right? An indication that you need support under you is that when you hinge forward, your butt left the floor. So if you're fully tilted forward like that and you're not grounded, come back up, press those hips down and put some support under your hands. You might be able to lower to your forearms here. This is a nice stretch for some of us. You can lower your head down, whatever you like to do. Just make sure you're not pointing with your chin. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Notice your spine here. So press the tailbone back. Lift up your heart. Reach through the top of your head. Inhale to find some space. Exhale and maybe fold a little bit deeper. If you can, lower your head down. And walk your hands back to your body. Let your head come up last. Keep your blocks nearby. We're going to set up for a twist. So if we have some spinal issues, if we have some lower back, lower hip issues, like maybe some out of alignment hips, coccyx issues, even IT band tightness that really pulls up on the piriformis, the pain in the center of the glute, then you want to be really mindful when you're moving through these twists. And that's whether you are flexible or you feel like you are cement, okay? Because that whole muscle chain right there connects to every other part of the body, right? So if we have tightness in one place, it can refer to another place. So take time in your twist, stay well inside your range of motion, especially if you're flexible, okay? We'll take the left hand behind us somewhere. You may need to use a block. Right hand over to your left leg. Inhale to lift up your chest, core is engaged. Exhale and twist. And when you twist, lead with your left shoulder. Let your left shoulder guide you into this twist. So it's not so much in the core, not so much twisting the torso, just drawing back from the left shoulder. And you might feel it from the right hip flexor, maybe the right knee is lifting up, right? That whole chain of muscular stuff. There's a lot going on there, but you might feel it twist up through the torso, through the left shoulder. Keep your shoulders down, deep breath in. Exhale and twist a little deeper. You can look over your left shoulder if that feels okay. Inhale, find some space, lift your chest. Exhale and twist. Draw in your core, come back to your center, pause here for a moment, shake it out, whatever you need. Move to the other side. So right hand behind you, left hand to the right leg. Sit up tall, breathing in. Exhale and twist, right shoulder back, lead with your right shoulder. You maybe have never twisted like that before, so you might feel like this is less of a twist than what I'm used to. It probably is, but it's a different way to twist. So keeping the shoulders down, engage from your core. Make sure you're sitting a little forward in your pelvis as opposed to backwards in your pelvis, and just work with that right shoulder backwards. Drawing it back, breathe in, exhale and twist. Core stays engaged and slowly come back to your center. Wiggle it out if you need. So again, we'll just start to move with our breath, right? So not breathing quickly. This is not a cardio class. So really try to stay with your whole inhale, twist a little bit deeper with your exhale, and keep your core engaged, especially when you move side to side, right? We want to protect our spines. So inhale, find some space. Exhale and twist. Inhale through your center to the other side with your hands. Use your exhale to twist. And if you're not used to a breath movement type practice, see how those inhales can create space when we're lifting up, expansion, that's what the lungs are doing. And on the exhale, we twist into that space. That expansion helps stretch the body a little bit. One more time each side. And then come back to your center. Roll your shoulders back, lift up your chest. Take those hands again, flip them down, place them either at your lower back of your bolster, use those blocks we talked about, then squeeze your elbows in. Next inhale, lift up your chest even more, let it be exaggerated. On your exhale, chin to your chest, keep rolling the shoulders back, elbows in. On your next exhale, walk your hands out in front of you into a second fold. You may have a different expression here with your hands, with your hips, whatever you need. And if you had to change how you're seated by now, it's no problem. I know this is a long time to be in this pretzel with the legs. So shoulders back, slide the elbows in, rotate them inwards. Deep breath in, slow breath out. If you like, lower your head down. And walk your hands back to your body. Let your head come up last. All right, so we're going to lower down. Now, if you're up on a bolster like me, you might be ready to lower down to the floor. It's totally possible. This is where you need to implement something under your seat instead. All right, so we're going to start with a separate leg stretch. And things that are important when we go into these seated stretches are that we're not into our lower backs, right? I know I'm wearing all dark clothes, so it's probably hard to see that I'm rotating backwards. So this is more what you're looking like. Maybe you're having a hard time reaching the floor out in front of you. This knee is probably bent. This one's probably up in the air, right? It's a whole chain reaction of tightness. Get yourself supported. So you would put something like a block underneath the left foot, left knee, or you can even have the left foot out. And as it's available to you, you can straighten the right leg, but you may need to be a little bit more careful and put something underneath the right knee. So you can see how just giving yourself support in two places is just going to benefit you and give you more range of motion when we move through our stretches. So you could use a strap under your foot. There's always lots of other things that you can do. Take a moment to look at your right foot and move it around. Point your toes away from your body, then flex your foot, pulling your toes back towards the body. It's okay if your heel doesn't lift, right? Pointing and flexing. Notice how you are sitting. It's totally possible you're rounding forward now. And then take some circles around your ankle. Think of leading with the big toe when you make these movements. And you can reverse this in the other direction. And then come back to flexing your foot. So let's make sure we're sitting up tall. Weight is forward in the pelvis. Take your hands to either side of the right leg. You may need to use blocks to reach it. Inhale, lift up your chest, flex your foot. With your exhale, elbows in. Hinge forward. And you can kind of use your elbows as like a little track for how you're supposed to hinge forward with your body. Only if you can get those elbows in though, right? Deep breath in. Exhale and hinge. And what does hinge mean? Hinge just means we are hinging forward. We are tilting forward from the pelvis, right? If you put your hands on your hips and you press the back of the thumbs into your lower back and you hinge forward, that little bit of motion right there. That's what we're looking for. So notice your shoulders. That left one might be up in the air. Bring it down. Deep breath in. Exhale and fold. Lower your head down. Slowly make your way back up. And we'll switch it out for the other side. You might need a totally different support situation on this side. Left foot out, right foot in. And you know that the right leg could be all the way out if it needed to. Support yourself however it's best for you. Flex point, take circles around your ankle. Sometimes the ankles make noises here. I wouldn't worry about it too much. If it's painful, then maybe worry about it, but hopefully it's not. So flex your foot, sit up tall, take your hands to either side of your left leg. Twist your torso. You want to aim the center of your torso towards the center of your left toes. Inhale to find some space. Exhale and hinge forward. And if it's better for you to figure out that hinge, keep your hands at your hips when you hinge forward, right? And notice when that curve starts to happen, back up, lift up, support where you need to. Give yourself a few breaths there. The body will probably open up naturally. And then see if you can move a little bit deeper. And check in with your right shoulder. It might be up. Same with the right knee. Bring it down. Lower your head down and slowly come back up. So we'll take the right leg out. You may not need to move your left leg. You may need to resituate everything. I recommend taking anything underneath your seat, lifting it up, and just making sure that those hip bones are grounded, right? Some of us have more than others underneath us, so you may have to wiggle a little bit more or less. Flex your feet, have something out in front of you. Inhale to lift up your chest. Exhale to hinge forward. And if you feel pretty good here, maybe you lower down to your forearms. If you lower into your forearms and you went back into your spine, that's not the right answer. So we want to keep extending, tailbone down, top of the spine upwards. On your inhale, let your belly expand, stretch it out. On your exhale, see if you could fold a little bit deeper. Lower your head down and slowly roll up. All right, so we'll go into a hip opener now. Soles of the feet towards each other. Your feet could be way out in front. If your feet are way out in front, then you're going to take your hands underneath your feet when we fold forward. As you open up, hands around the ankles, slide the heels in towards the inner thighs. You could give yourself that similar support anytime you need with the blocks underneath your knees. Do not force your heels into your inner thighs if you are questioning your flexibility at all. Okay, I've done this shape for about 20 years, so I'm very comfortable here. I do not feel any pulling in the thighs, but you probably do. So if you feel a lot of pulling and it feels like a little rubber bandy, you definitely need to put some support underneath you. This could be a sneaky injury later on. All right, so hands can go underneath the feet. They can go around the ankles. Inhale to lift up your chest. On your exhale, hinge forward, elbows in. If you feel good here, elbows can actually press down to the calves. You could keep them towards the inner thighs if you prefer. And check in with the rounding in your spine. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. And consider your pelvic floor engagement here. Draw your belly button in. See if that gives you a little more space to fold. One more time, breathe in here. On your exhale, lower your head. And slowly make your way up. Now use your hands on your knees here or the thighs to help bring the knees together. Extend your legs out in front of you, flex your feet. You may need to have your hands and to your sides rocking a little left and right. We want to think tailbone down, lifting up from the top of the spine, right? You heard me say that a few times now. So you can have your hands on the floor if that's best for your body. Otherwise, inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Elbows can be bent. With your exhale, hinge forward. When you get to that halfway point, lift up and then hinge a little bit further. And you can keep doing that as you move forward as a flexibility drill. Shoulders back. Use the strap here if you need at the bottom of the feet. If that's you, then you're going to have the hands around about here and the elbows in, hinging forward. If you're feeling ultra flexible, put a block beyond your feet and hands on that. Deep breath in, use your core. Exhale and fold. Lower your head down and slowly roll up. Head comes up last. All right, so it's our restorative practice time, which means that we are going to focus on still supporting the body the best we can, but we're going to let go of that muscular engagement. So we're not going to use the core anymore. We're going to try to keep the thighs and the glutes relaxed, and we're going to use support to help us with that when it becomes difficult, especially. So you may have things around you more than you need. All good. I'd rather you have more than you need than, not enough and then you're hurting and you're not supported, right? It's okay if you fall asleep in this class because you've supported yourself so well. So we'll start with our back bend or our chest opener. And if you have a hard time breathing when you lay down, you may want an incline here. So use a pillow either on top of the bolster or use something like blocks or pillows stacked underneath the bolsters to support you that way. Also really good for if you have some lower back pain, maybe you're pregnant, something like that. So lots of options. Try to make it as accessible as I can for everyone. So I like a pillow on top of the bolster. And then we're just going to lay back over top of it. You need to make sure that whatever situation you have underneath your spine, that little curve in your back is supported and is not painful. So if you recline over your support and it gets a little painful for you, take a dish towel or a small pillow and put it underneath that space or put it underneath your butt and see if that helps it. Okay, so a lot of us have that tightness in the chest, right? So our arms might just be hanging out in the air. We don't really want that. So take your hands on top of your blocks. Try to support your elbow, not just have it hanging free. And if you can, support the fingers, but if you have to choose one, support the elbow before the fingers, unless that's where you have an injury. So then we may need to go palms down. Maybe our rotator cuff just does not like that being open. So palms down is a little more protective. You may like to just have your hands across your belly. All of these are fine options. You might like to have the legs straight or come back to that hip opener that we did seated, but now we're laying down. So definitely in a supported variation, even me, right? Flexible, I'm still going to put support underneath the knees or thighs if that's my choice. This is not my choice for a supported shape or a restorative shape because for me, later on in the day, this will irritate my lower back because I'll be here for too long. So think about that in your own body if you have some lower back pains. Something underneath the knees is nice. This is where a foam roller can really help because it has that curve anyways. Okay, so if you're new to restorative, there's going to be some silence now in between shapes. I may cue a couple, breath things, breath reminders. But if you're thinking it's been quiet for a while, don't worry about it. I'm paying attention, even though it might look like I'm asleep. Okay, so close your eyes if you can. If you can't, focus on the tip of your nose or the space between your eyebrows. Take an inhale, let your belly lift up. And on your exhale, relax your shoulders back. Relax your right shoulder, your left shoulder. And see if you can get both of those shoulders to be a little heavier together. And then think about your heels and just let your toes fall open. You breathe slowly. If you have a hard time staying away from your thoughts or what's next, just count to yourself like we did in the beginning of class, where we just counted up to 4 or 5 with a pause at the top, and then reverse that back down to 1 with a pause at the bottom. I'll let you know when it's time to move. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Now, if your palms are facing up, flip them down, and then slowly bring your arms across your body, closing out your shoulders. If you have the range of motion, you could give yourself a deeper sort of hug with the arms around the body. If you ended up in a hip opener, bring your knees in towards each other. And then everyone else, just turn your big toes in towards each other a little, and then begin to make your way up to your seat. Release your hands and just come up to your seat the best way for you. So from our supported back bend into a forward fold, supported. Take your bolster or whatever you think is best for you here to go out in front of you. And the same logic applies from the back bend to the forward fold. So you may not want to have this all the way down on the ground. You may want to have something closer to your body here to bring the upper body over top of, because maybe you would like to stretch this middle lower part of your back. So not so much the lower, but the middle lower part. Alternately, you may like to have the lift underneath, like how I mentioned before. And then you can have your arms around the bolster and bring the body down. And of course, you could still remix, right, with all these other things together at the same time. So find what's best for you. Legs can be out. You can have them in a different shape. You can have your legs together with the bolster on top of your legs. Just be mindful of your knees. And make sure that your head's supported. So give yourself enough support that your head can be fully relaxing on something. And closing your eyes, deep breath in, slow breath out. So unlike in the first portion of class where we focus on extending the spine, and I say no to rounding, this is a place where, as you can see, if you can see me in the camera, rounding is okay. Just support yourself. Scan the body. Let those shoulders be free. Let them hang. Let go of the core. What are you doing with your feet? You might be flexing or pointing and you don't realize it. So just let it go. Wiggle it out if you need to. And if you've been looking to one side and it's okay in your neck, turn your neck the other direction. And take a moment to bring your head to center. And make your way up, lifting up your head last. Okay, so now we're going to go into our twist, our recline twist. So just take your bolster out to the right. You may like to have a pillow up by your head. I like to be comfortable, so I'm all about pillows. And then from here, you're going to lower down to your back. Okay. And support yourself anywhere extra you think is needed. Blankets are really nice here. So have your right leg extended. Lift your hips up and slide them over to the left just a little bit. And then let your left leg go across your body into your twist. And you may have to angle your bolster. So knee and ankle should be supported if possible. If you have to choose one, go for the center line between the knee and the ankle. And you might like to straighten the leg out, right? Just push the bolster down a little bit. A lot of times we have this way too close to the body, so we're kind of crunching upwards into the rib cage. So bring the hip down and then over. Arms extended out, palms up. Make sure the shoulders are down on something. Arms are not floating in the air. If they are, put something underneath them. And you can look wherever you want, not too important. Technically, if you look to your left, it's completing the twist in the spinal line. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Take your time rolling back to your center. Slide your hips back over so that they are lined up with your shoulders. Take your support, maybe a bolster, over to the other side. Watch out for things you might have around you, like water. Okay, then slide the hips over to the right. Left leg extends and right leg tracks across your body. Supporting yourself the best you can here. Shoulders all the way to the fingertips. Knee to the ankle. Core soft. Weighted blankets can work here really nicely as well. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. So roll back to your center, slide your hips back into place. Draw your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. And then we'll set up for our final shape. So Shavasana, supported. Maybe you don't need to change anything underneath you. And that's perfectly fine. For me, I like the bolster to go long ways, or I guess widthwise, and the legs on top. Now, if you have a bolster similar to mine, it's really sturdy. You could turn it up on its side so that there's even more height. Right? There's a lot of different ways you can do this shape. You could go legs up the wall, legs up a piece of furniture, bending at the knees. You could be flat on the floor. All right. Do try to support yourself here a little bit more than in a traditional yoga class where you maybe wouldn't have the support. just so you can have some difference in your practice. All right. So a blanket over the hips can be really nice for grounding. That can be a weighted blanket. It doesn't have to be. Shoulders are down. Chest is lifted. Arms are down. Palms are up. But don't force the palms to be up. Just let it be natural. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And a slow breath out. We will formally end class at our seat with a short breathing exercise after this. Please stay if you can. We'll be here for about a minute or so. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Take some time here wiggling your fingers and your toes. Take a stretch if you like, whatever you like, basically on your way up to your seat. Take your time. If you like to be here longer in Shavasana, just mute me, no problem. From your seat, when you're ready, close your eyes, lift up your chest, come back to light core engagement, drawing in and up from the pelvic floor, belly button to your spine, lifting up your rib cage. Deep breath in, let your belly expand. A forceful exhale through your nose. Feel this in the back of your throat. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Returning to a normal breath. If it's a part of your practice, Anjali Mudra, hands together at the center of your chest, keeping the eyes closed, lift up your chest. You might tuck your chin just a little. Take a moment here to thank your body and your mind for what it's capable of today. Give yourself a compliment for taking time out of your morning to give yourself some space. And thank you so much for joining me, and you call this yoga. Namaste.